here we are in Milanote. This is a tool that I use for, our studio uses for all of its visual references, mood boards, project timelines, all that. So it's a really great spot for us to collect a mood board for this particular thing, because today is the day that we're dialing in the actual look of the landscape. So first things first, I've created a collection of references. You will see everything from deep green environments to water-based environments. Like this is, all of these images fall under the category of dreamscape. For this environment that we're building, I'm really trying to remove a lot of the pressure off of this first round because I just want to go. I just want to get this project off the ground. You'll see a ton of detail in these images, but I'm really trying to avoid getting granular on this round because I don't suspect that this first level, the first like iteration of this landscape will be the end all be all. So I'm really trying to get something out the door that feels like us, communicates the vision, but we didn't spend a month trying to build it. So let's just walk through this mood board and I can tell you why I put the things in here that I did. I really liked, we can start up here in the top left. I think monochromatic automatically pulls you into surrealism because nothing really matches this perfectly in the real world. And there's something soft about a lot of these references. I'm actually not gonna click on all of them because that would take way too long. But I want you to get a general theme here. I want you to feel some form of whimsy. I want you to realize that this is a place that you've never been before. I want you to immediately feel like it's an escape from your norm. And I've actually written out like a little bit of a manifesto for what this environment should be, and I'll read that to you in just a little bit. Long story short, I took all these images and I started piecemealing, taking parts of them out that I really liked and putting them into like training my own model for it. And so you'll start to see down here at the bottom, this is one of the first ones that are actually one of the ones that I've landed on that I'm starting to grow towards. And then I took that and I made this. And it's all really weird and it's crappy AI and I'm not trying to get anything perfect. In fact, I prefer it to not look perfect because I'm not trying to take anyone's work. I'm just trying to get a visual experience happening in my head. Then the place that I've made a lot of ground on though was this particular image right here. This image hit home in a lot of ways. And so from there, I created this. It's the same image. I just am calling it my North Star now. I've created this traits board. And this board is basically dissecting the things about this image that I really like. Because now that I've decided that this is the North Star, I want to make sure that as I go and build elements, or we go and build elements, that they align with the language that I'm going with here. Let me read you the like manifesto that I created for the landscape. The overall design of the landscape is likely to change once we see progress, but we need this initial state to serve our vision. The initial state of this landscape will communicate that this is a wild idea. It needs to break the standard cinematic look, which is going to be a mega challenge, and emit a light and joyous tone. At the same time, it can't be too far-fetched from day one. The concept for this world in itself is a foreign idea. Therefore, making the landscape look too foreign would hurt the vision. When people see the neighborhood and eventually get to stroll around it, because this will be a playable thing on the web, I haven't really said that to you yet, but it will be. We want them to feel like it's the best escape from their norm. We want this place to fuel ideas and dreams. What is it about this North Star image that we pick it? Well, as a team, we decided that it just carries the right amount of whimsy, and we're gonna break it apart. So the trees, they're very tall, slender. They have a genuine comparison to reality. Like this is the what is it called? The cypress that's super skinny like that in Italy. So it's not something that your brain has to refigure out what it is. It's very normal. But I think that this plays on the exaggeration of it, like seeing a bunch of them in spots that you wouldn't normally see them, or just the fact that they're so tall kind of pulls your eye upward and makes this whole thing feel more expansive. The grass should be super plush, nothing dead, no bald spots, essentially just a 70s shag rug in a very saturated, beautiful color. The structures, these tall spires, I guess that's what I'm calling them, they're almost Dr. Seuss-like, and these serve such an important part of the whole vision, because eventually, if you remember from the introduction, this world is going to be, it's just going to have tons of different people's homes in it. Like, we're allowing artists to create whatever it is that they want their home to look like. And so we needed something that would tie in the overall design language of the whole place. And these little spires, these little pillars, I guess you could call them, really tie everything together, even when there's something kind of weird going on in a certain spot. It's like those buildings can all look different, but because we have these tall structures that indicate the design language, it pulls it all together, and it gives permission to break the design language for each little home. Also, let's talk about the water. The water should be glacier clear, ultra refreshing, and more blue than green. The ground below the grass should be sand colored to contrast the grass. It should be firm surface that doubles as a walking path. So I'm trying to avoid having a third texture for walking paths or roads or anything, and if we could just make the ground itself pretty enough, then we can just kind of carve it out, mask it out in Unreal Engine, and have it look really good and serve both purposes. We'll also be using some large boulders. So if I zoom in here, you can see back in the background, like, I don't know what this AI image really was meaning by those things, but I take them as really big boulders, and that's kind of why I placed them in the image. I like in the model, there's wanted something back there that's structural, and but also natural, which is why a boulder is perfect. And I want the boulders to be pretty much the same color as the ground. It's something we've talked a lot about. It's like we don't want to continue. We want all the focus to be on these homes, and so we're trying to keep the palette pretty simple, and not overly like attention grabbing. And then the very last thing that we should talk about is the sky. I really want there to be some form of fade to the actual sky. I don't want it to be overly saturated, and that's for one very specific reason. The sky is going to be serving as our HDRI, or a dome light for the environment. So if it's too saturated, then it's going to pull all the different hues that are in the environment into a direction that I don't think they should go. I think if we keep it a faded blue that's just pleasant and a pretty day with nice fluffy clouds, I think it's going to give the world a little bit more of a filmic look instead of like a, I don't know, overly saturated color blasting thing. That's really what we want to avoid. Yeah, so those are the traits. And the way that I got to those traits was because of all the references I've been digging. And by the way, this is like 1/10 of the amount of reference imagery that I have. These are just the ones that continue to rise up in my list. So yeah, that's it. That's where we're sitting. We now have like an identity, and this was, I'm kind of going through it fast, but it really has been like days of work to just kind of hone in on what this really should be, trying to not get in our own way, trying to stay simple, but also communicate something really cool is happening here. Because when people land into our world or onto one of these videos, I really want them to be caught off guard by just the language, the tone that's being represented. Okay, that's it for this devlog. This is another short one, but we're about to move into the building stage. I just wanted to document this, where my brain was, And then the next episode is when we actually go into Unreal Engine and start crafting the world.